Carly walked along the snow-dusted path, dragging her wheeled suitcase behind her. A green wreath tied with a red velvet bow hung from a brass holder on the front door. The scent of pine was sharp in the air. The same way it had been. Her breath caught in her throat. The house, the wreath, the candle, the snowman. It was as if time had stopped. As if the past 6 years had simply been a bad dream. Any second, Carly expected Nick to fling open the door wearing a Santa hat and greet her with a jolly ho ho ho. And Ian. She closed her eyes, fighting an onslaught of unwelcome memories. I can't believe you're going climbing 2 days before our wedding. Why don't you just admit it, Ian? You love climbing more than you love me. She'd wanted to forget. The argument and tears before and as he'd left to climb. The thoughts about his selfish behavior while he'd been climbing and dying. The grief and guilt after his body and Nick's had been found. Carly thought she'd forgotten. Put the past behind her. Moved on. She forced herself to breathe. Returning to Hood Hamlet had been a mistake. She should have stayed in Philadelphia, where she'd made a new life for herself, far away from the shadow of Mount Hood and all the mountain had stolen from her. If only staying away had been an option. But her brother's widow, Hannah, was expecting a new baby and needed help with her 2 children. So here Carly was, ready to be an aunt extraordinaire for her niece and nephew. For better or, most likely, worse. All she had to do was survive her time here, including December 24th, the 25th, and New Year's Eve. How difficult could that be? Given she hadn't celebrated the holidays in 5 years, she didn't want to know the answer. Carly tightened her grip on the suitcase handle before climbing the steps to the front porch. With a tentative hand, she reached for the doorknob before remembering this was no longer her brother's house. She pressed the doorbell and waited. The doorknob jiggled. Straightening, Carly forced a smile. Years of working with customers had taught her how to put on a happy face, no matter how she felt inside. The door cracked open. Welcome back, Carly. A male voice greeted her warmly. She'd expected to see Hannah's husband of 2 years, Garrett Willingham. But the man standing in the doorway looked nothing like the clean-cut, non-risk-taking, business suit-wearing certified public accountant.